multiplying decimals. We're going to find the shortcuts and the algorithms to multiply decimals, and we'll check our working and our reasoning with the calculator. If I'm multiplying by powers of 10, numbers like 10, 100 or 1000, one with some zeros after them, there's a shortcut we can take. Let's just have a look at the answers we get. 2 times 10, we know that one, it's 20. Have a look at what happened to the 2. It's a 2 with an extra 0 on the end. Let's check some of these with the calculator. 1.3 times 100. That's 130. 0.002 times 1000. Oh, it's just 2. Have a look at what's happening when we have a decimal multiplied by a power of 10. The shortcut is that you can count the number of zeros and move the decimal point that many places to the right. So when I had 1.3 times 100, I take my 1.3, pick up my decimal point, and move it 2 places to the right. That's 1 place for every 0. If I have to jump over an empty space, I'm jumping over a 0, and my answer was 130, and we know that's correct. That's what we got with the calculator. If I'd checked that with the first question, 2, well, there's no decimal point, but I can put the decimal point after the 2 and treat it as 2.0, jump the decimal point 1 spot to the right because there's 1 0 in the 10, write the 0 because I've jumped over an empty spot, and my answer was 20. So when I did 0.002 times 1000, I take my decimal point 3 spots to the right because there's 3 zeros, and I ended up with 2. So you can see we've checked with our calculator that the method works if I move 1 spot to the right for every 0 in the power of 10 I'm multiplying by. So let's check that with my final example, 1.03 times 1000. There are 3 zeros after the 1 and 1000, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. So 3 spots to the right. I've jumped over an empty space, so I put a 0, and my answer is 1030. And I can check 1.03 on the calculator times 1000. That's my answer. So if I'm multiplying by powers of 10, count the zeros in the power of 10 and move the decimal point to the right that many spaces. Oh, I left my calculator in the wrong spot. Sorry about that. Now, multiplying decimals when it's not by powers of 10 is also pretty easy. We start out by setting it up as we would on any multiplication. So we don't have to line up the decimal points. And remember, we don't have to line up the units when we do a normal multiplication. Start out by doing just a normal multiplication. So 6 times 3, 18. Put down the 8 and carry the 1. Next one, 6 times 7. If you have to think about it for a sec, that's okay. But we've got 42, add on the 1, we've got 43. Put down the 3, carry the 4. 6 times 4, 24. Put those down, ignoring the decimal points for now. We're not going to be multiplying our 8. So we put down our 0. 8 times 3, 24. 8 times 7, 56, 57, 58. 8 times 5 is 40, so I've got 45. Add up all our numbers. 4 plus 8 is 12 there, carrying the 1. Now that's a very, very big number, and you'll see that if I multiply 5-ish by 8-ish, I should be ending up around 40-ish, not 48,000. That's because we deal with the decimal places afterwards. We count the number of spaces, or the number of numbers, digits, after the decimal points in the whole question. 1, 2, 3, and we put the decimal point in the answer, so there's that many places behind the decimal point in our answer. And now, of course, we've got an answer that looks about right. And if we want to check it with our calculator, 5.73 times 8.6. Well, I forgot a 1 somewhere. Everything's right, except that 9. What have I done? That's what I did. I had a 1 to carry, and I forgot it. If you can check your answer with a calculator, always do it, because I would have got the wrong answer because I was being careless. Always check if you've had to carry anything. So one quick other example, 2.37 times 3. Remember, it's much better to put the number with the fewest digits on the bottom, so it's easier. So this one, just line up whatever we're right justifying, as it were. We're lining them up at the edge there. We don't need to line up the decimal points. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Carry out 1. 3 times 2, 6. Don't forget that 1, 7. And look at the question. 2-ish times 3. It should be around 6, not 711. Count the number of digits that were after a decimal point. There's 2. Put the decimal point, so there's 2 after the decimal point in the answer. So our rule, multiply as usual. Count the digits after the decimal point in the question, and we have that many in the answer. And always check with your calculator if you can.